Welcome to Community View. I'm Melissa Anderson. In the next few weeks, voters will decide on 3 St. George City candidates from a list of 6. We've decided to ask them all the same questions for a brief overview of their standings. With me today is candidate Greg Aldred. Welcome, Greg. You're not new here to St. George, but tell us about what you do.
Well, I've got a lot of roots here in St. George. I've been active in a lot of community service. I was a general contractor, invested in a tech company from students right here from our university.
Nice.
And that's been fun. I hold a real estate license, and then also held a license in alternative energy, solar, thermal, etc.
So why do you want to be a candidate? Why have you applied several times?
Why do I want the abuse?
City councilman. What qualifies you?
I think qualifying, well, I'll get to that, but the inspiration comes from my mother and father. My dad was a commissioner in the 80s, back then when our population was quite smaller, and my mom was a long-time nurse. Because of her, we have our senior center, and because of my father, we acquired the fairgrounds and 911 call center, our library systems. Dad, mom, and quite a list. So we've always served the community, and I think there's some real needs. Qualifying me, probably as a businessman, I understand what it is to balance a budget. And I do have concerns. Our city has grown its budget $160 million in the last 4 years. So I'd like to be a watchdog for the people. I know what our duties are, but really to protect our taxes. They're sacred to me.
So what do you think are the most important issues facing St. George right now?
Oh, affordable housing, no doubt. And to make that happen, also to work with our businesses. I've been a Chamber of Commerce president, to make sure they pay the wages so that can be done. And I look at all the factors right now with our building permits and our water hookup fees, which relates to our future pipeline. We're $40,000 before they even purchase a lot. So for somebody to try to acquire or build a new home, the numbers just don't work out. And it's not fair to the builder or the developer, but it has to come together as a community. So affordable housing is top priority for me, and we can make that happen.
Which leads to my next question. What's your stance on increases in taxes for roads, infrastructure, or
I'd just like to flash. That's kind of what I'm running my campaign on, is the 3 T's, taxes, term limits, and then absolutely what you're addressing here. Growth is supposed to sustain itself, and we're structured in our tax base. It's already there. We just need a better plan on maintenance those roads, whether we use chip and seal or a slurry seal. I have a lot of background in infrastructure. Actually built a lot of the roads with my brothers back in the 80s.
And very briefly, are you in support of construction then of the Northern Corridor and then later Lake Powell Pipeline?
You know, I had a legislator tell me that pipeline's coming no matter what the council says. It's beyond us. I have concerns about the lawsuits, but I've also looked from the other side too. If we put every water program that's on the board besides the pipeline, the numbers say we can sustain 380,000 people. I know there's always a need. I hate to be rushed that we need those water, it's our rights, and yes it is, and if that's such an issue, let's build a reservoir off the state line from the Colorado and figure this out, because I don't really think we can afford it. I'm for our water rights. And will the Northern Corridor reduce our traffic here? Guys, the future says we're gonna have passenger drones, and we're gonna have self-driving cars. I don't know if I'll be in those, but the future's bright for the next generation, and that's gonna relieve a lot of the traffic. But we gotta start looking at airspace travel and how to map that out and be prepared for the future.
And finally, why should people vote for you?
Because I would. You know, I looked at my own resume and I said, you know, that guy's pretty cool, cares about our future. I would say my service record alone, and you can find me on utah.gov, I think that's how it is, utah.gov. And find each candidate and where their affiliations is and where they've served their community. And I've served our community well, and I appreciate all those who will support me. And anyway, our future's bright, and I ask for their vote.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thanks for
and thank
having
you
me.
for joining us. And be sure to tune in for more interviews, and be sure to make sure and get out and vote on Election Day. Have a great day.